It comes swiftly, this moment that will be spoken of for ages. The day the Herald of Andraste challenged a darkspawn that thought itself a god. Defeat him, and you'll be more than a holy woman to the people. You'll enter legend.
Now that sounds more dangerous than anything I've done so far.
And there is the wit that reassures us. People joined the Inquisition after hearing you were blessed, but they've stayed because of how you lead. I wanted to tell you that I shared their sentiments, Inquisitor, and... well, I suppose I just did.
I hope you're not going anywhere after I stop Corypheus.
Far from it. Oh, if you'll have me, there's so much more the Inquisition can do. Farewell, my lady. When you face Corypheus, may you walk in the light. What may I do for you?
What do the people make of us?
There's scarcely a noble house that hasn't openly pledged its support to us.
Any visiting dignitaries I should watch out for?
The Navarran minister was greatly impressed during his visit. Considering I've never seen him smile before, we should consider it a coup.
What brightened the minister's spirits?
I believe he finds something romantic about our attempt to slay Corypheus's dragon.
We could extend the minister an invitation the next time we root around for a high dragon.
Please don't. He might take you up on it.
Bastien is dead. I can hardly believe. It was the Wintersend Ball. My first visit to the Imperial Palace. The Circle sent a dozen of us to entertain the nobility. I was in awe of everyone and everything, and then our eyes met. Bastien spent the entire ball at my side. The Dowager tried to have him killed for slighting her, but he didn't care.
Falling in love across a crowded ballroom. Sounds like something out of a children's story.
He was a dashing rogue, and any defects he might have had were made up for with rank and importance. It was a more innocent time, I suppose. And now he's gone, and I must write to his son Laurent. And his sister will make a terrible fuss if she isn't informed first. And I'll need to arrange for the chantry services. Maker only knows how long that will take.
If I can help you, just say the word.
No, my dear. I'll handle everything. Excuse me, I have so much to do.
Corypheus died, and then he didn't. That's why he always felt wrong, like he didn't fit inside himself. He wears another man's life. I thought dying was forever.
So did I. Corypheus seems to break a lot of rules.
But is it him? Is he real? If a man can be dead and then not, could I have saved the real Cole?
What happened to him wasn't your fault.
His hands were bruised from beating on the wall. It was dark, like the cabinet where he hid to escape his father. His belly hurt like knives, throat cracked dry. He was alone. I pushed through and held his hand. It was all I could do. He said, "Thank you." Thank you.
I'm sorry. Oh wait, no I'm not. It's just the funniest, isn't it? That creaky old Abelas in Mythal saying the elves weren't destroyed by Tevinter.
That's some long dead you're gloating over.
About about time I got mine back. Elvy elves have shoved victim in my face 1,000,000 times. Like being sad makes them better than me. Turns out they're not victims. They're the same as everyone else. Arseholes. Plus, a big old temple full of demon-worshipping lies. Grand, that.
You seem pretty certain. You don't believe anything from Mythal.
Course not. What, I should believe all that stuff? Because elves? I mean, it was impressive and all. Makes the Dalish look like tits for living in the woods, but so what? There can't be a bunch of gods and the Maker. Don't matter how much or little you believe, those don't fit. So call me stupid, but I believe the stuff not made up by dead people who failed. Mythal is a ruin full of demons. I mean, it just makes sense, right?
I'm with you. Everything in that temple was highly suspect.
Of course it was. You can't be Herald and think otherwise, yeah? I mean, that would just be daft. So, main takeaway, we got really weird power and we can throw it at Cariffy whatever. Fighting shite with shite. It's like poetry or something, I don't know. Get a bard on that. We should go slap hands in the tavern.
So to kill Corypheus, all we have to do is kill his dragon first? That's easy. We're good at killing shit. Just one more big fight to put this Magister asshole down for good. I knew you'd get us here, boss.
I've been waiting for the chance to pay that bastard back.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Inquisitor.
What's the word out there?
A few complaining that you've time to bed your allies. I don't judge much.
What's the current mood?
Unlikely.
As you were.
Inquisitor.
Going well, I hope?
What's been going on?
Dorian's awfully pretty, isn't he?
I should go.
Inquisitor?
How shall I refer to you? Rainier or Blackwall?
I've gotten used to Blackwall. Perhaps we could treat it as less of a name and more of a title. Almost like Inquisitor. Reminds me of what I ought to be.
Doesn't matter to me.
Thank you.
The Temple of Mythal was extraordinary. In all my journeys, I never dreamed of finding anything like it. What will you do with the power of the well once Corypheus is dead?
I'll use whatever power I have to undo the chaos that Corypheus and his allies have caused.
You would put things back the way they were before.
Yes. I mean, not exactly.
I know what you mean. Thank you.
For what?
You have not been what I expected, Inquisitor. You have impressed me. You honor the past and work to recover what was lost, even if the cost is high. I respect that. And I am indebted to you for the reminder. Forgive my melancholy. Corypheus has cost us much. The Temple of Mythal did not deserve such a fate. The orb he carries, and its stolen power, that at least we may still recover. With luck, some of the past may yet survive.
You planning to leave before we take down the bad guy?
No, but there may not be a later. It seemed wise to say my goodbyes now.
Though all before me is shadow, yet shall the Maker be my guide. I shall not be left to wander the drifting roads of the beyond. For there is no darkness in the Maker's light, and nothing that he has wrought shall be lost.
A prayer for you?
For those we have lost, and those I am afraid to lose.
I'm glad you haven't lost your faith.
I've questioned it at times, but I found comfort in faith when life offered little. Corypheus will retaliate. It's only a matter of time. We must draw strength wherever we can.
Unless he gets bored and surrenders. Any chance of that?
I doubt it.
So it's true. Some look to Cassandra or even me as Justinia's successor. I never thought the idea would gain momentum. Of course, with the other candidates out of the picture... Is becoming divine something you really want? When Justinia was alive, I would have laughed at anyone who even suggested that I could be her successor. Things have changed. Still, I don't know. Restoring the Chantry will be like trying to steer a sinking vessel through a storm. Whoever becomes divine will have my support if she requires it. And I'm sure whoever becomes divine will absolutely require the Inquisition's backing. The Chantry is faltering, but it still has influence over the people. Who tells the people what's right? Who do they look to in times of peril? A divine with enough support can change the Chantry. And with it, Thedas. But this is a discussion for later. If Corypheus wins, finding a new divine will be the least of our problems. A message from Divine Justinia. That's a shock. You're all right reading it. Thank you for the concern, Inquisitor. But I am. This message was written months, perhaps even years ago, to be delivered to me if she died. I've heard of such contingency plans. A sudden death often leaves loose ends. I'm to go to Valence, a small village on the waking sea. There is something hidden there. Do you know what you're looking for? The Divine was a powerful woman who used her position to obtain all sorts of things. Whatever she hid in Valence would very likely benefit the Inquisition and must be kept from falling into the wrong hands. If I'm lucky, she will have instructions for me. You take your instructions from me? What sort of help can a dead divine give you? I don't know. Perhaps something to do with the Chantry. Or it could be personal. She guided me for many years, Inquisitor, as a divine and as a friend. There are days when I still look to her for advice, only to remember that I am alone. Why hide things in Valence? What's so special about it? Justinia was revered mother at the Chantry there for many years before she became the Divine. It is a place that holds great meaning for her. Is this you asking permission to leave for a bit? Well, yes. I can't imagine I'll be away from my post for very long. And I was hoping you would agree to come with me. Will you at least consider it? One more thing. If what is hidden in Valence is as valuable as I think, we're not going to be the only ones looking for it. I shall meet you at the Chantry in Valence. Try not to delay. It's just as I remember it. You didn't tell me you'd been here before. After the Blight ended, I came here to see Justinia. She was just Dorothea then, a revered mother. I needed her wisdom after the hero of Ferelden died. I didn't expect it to be so... deserted. It makes me uneasy. It's a small village and it's too early for the chant. I'm sure the sisters are somewhere.
Liliana, is that you?
Sister Natalie, what are you doing here? I thought you were in Val Rayo.
No, I've been here since Justinia died. This place makes me feel like she's still with us.
Inquisitor, this is Natalie, a trusted friend.
Wait, Inquisitor? You brought the Inquisitor here? My lady, forgive me for not recognizing you earlier.
You owe me 20 readings of the Canticle of Trials for that insult.
She doesn't mean it. Natalie, listen. There is something hidden here. Something Justinia left for me.
Oh, really? What is it?
I don't know, but we'll find it. I'm curious to see what brought us all here. Justinia's letter came with instructions for me. They were a little cryptic. Always remember that faith sprung from a barren branch, that light has no fear of darkness. Above all, that strength lives in an open heart.
She must be hinting at something in here. Let's look around.
Do they still sing verses from the benedictions every Friday? That canticle was Justinia's favorite.
Yes, of course. We'd never give up the traditions of our most beloved divine.
That is lovely to hear.
I stare up at the bridge sometimes. It's terrifying, but beautiful in its way.
It is beautiful.
Have you seen it by sunrise?
When the sun rises through it, it splits into what looks like 1,000 suns, like a broken mirror.
Yes, spectacular, isn't it? You must be careful, Natalie. Justinia's enemies are making their move, vying for position and the Sunburst throne. I was in a cloister in Lothering when the Blight began. There was a lot of fear back then. No one knew what was going to happen, whether we would live or die. And then one morning, I found a single bloom. Life finds a way. The Maker hasn't abandoned us. An open heart. Well, that one's quite literal. And morbid. But Justinia always said that compassion was my greatest strength.
Doubt is easy. It takes courage to trust.
What was that? Looks like we opened something. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Finally, I was getting tired of all these tricks.
They never sing the benedictions here on Fridays, Natalie. Something so simple. And you got it so wrong. I wanted to believe, but you were lying from the start. Keep that pretty mouth shut if you must, dear. You've already told me everything I need to know. The prickleweed burrs on your hem, talking about the sun rising through the breach. It all points to a single place. Morel in the Dales, Grand Cleric Victoire's bastion. She sent you, didn't she? Victoire was always an opportunist.
Who is this Grand Cleric? I've never heard of her.
An experienced cleric. She never agreed with Justinia, but kept her ideas to herself. I suppose now, with Justinia dead, she thought she could make her move.
I want to know what this Grand Cleric planned here.
She sent Natalie here to see what Justinia was hiding, no?
The Inquisition has turned Thidas away from the true chantry. It must be stopped.
Stop us? You must be joking.
Mother Victoire is well loved by many. The Inquisition has more enemies than you know.
And Victoire thinks she can ally with them. Good work. We know the name of our enemy. That's half the battle won. Exactly.
Kill me then. I am not afraid to die for my beliefs. At least I still know what I believe.
This has to be done. You know it.
I see what you've become. The righteous stand before the darkness, and the Maker shall guide them.
No! This can't be it. There's nothing here.
Well, this was a waste of time.
I wish I could say this was more than an empty box. There's a message carved in the lid. The left hand should lay down her burden. She's releasing me. The divine has a long reach, but it is always her left hand that stretches out. 1,000 lies, 1,000 deaths. Her commands, but my conscience that bore the consequences.
She apologized in the Fade. She said she failed you. This is what she meant.
All this time, Justinia carried the fear that she was using me. Just like I'd been used in the past. But Marjolaine's games were trifles. Justinia gambled with the fate of nations. She needed me. No one else could have done what I did. She knows that.
Sacrifices are necessary. You know that.
I know. And hearing you agree gives me the courage to do what must be done. Justinia tried to save me, but all it's done is made me realize I don't need saving. There is work to be done. I'll see you back at Skyhold. Grand Cleric Victoire wishes to make an enemy of the Inquisition. I'll give her what she wants. Doesn't Victoire have a young cousin? Lord Firmin? She dotes on him.
Yes, mistress. I believe that is so.
Good. Have him collected. He shall be an honored guest, and make sure the Grand Cleric hears about it.
At your command.
You're dealing with the Grand Cleric a little harshly, don't you think?
Harsh times call for harsh measures, Inquisitor. You see, when I'm ruthless, it gets us where we need to be. It's something to be proud of. Why fix it? How funny that her regret is what finally puts my own to rest. I chose to become her left hand, knowing what it meant. It was my weakness that stopped me from fully committing to my task.
Well then, I suppose that's that.
The Inquisition needs me just as the Divine did, to do what no one else dares. Death and deception are my trade. It is what I am. It is what I always will be. I was pondering who might be divine, and it suddenly occurred to me. Is it so ridiculous for the Grand Clerics to support me? Why shouldn't they?
If you were divine, what would you do?
Change things. Change everything. No more circles. The mages will be free. the Chantry will accept them as the Maker's children. In fact, it will accept everyone. Elves, dwarves, even Canary. Why exclude them? The Chantry allows our differences to tear us apart, instead of teaching us how we are the same.
I think you would make a good divine.
I am glad to hear it. Your support may persuade the Grand Clerics to vote in my favor. Justinia wanted the Chantry to grow, but her reforms never took root. She was held back by tradition and was too gentle to force change. I will make that mistake.
I don't see why you'd bother.
Because I owe it to Justinia. She started the work, and I will finish it. Justinia thought the circles needed to change. But why stop there? The Chantry alienated potential allies by brutalizing elves and belittling dwarves. If we could bring them into the fold, wouldn't we have peace? There are those who would cling to the old ways, of course. But they will see. I would make them see. But I've rambled on too long. I am not divine. Yet.
What happened at the Elven Temple? It's got me thinking. I should go back, shouldn't I? To Tevinter. Once this is done. If we're still alive. All my talk of how terribly wrong things are back home. But what do I do about it? Nothing.
How does this relate to the Elven Temple?
You encountered ancient elves. A piece of history. Something the Imperium didn't destroy. Maybe my people can atone for what we've done. There is something still left to restore. Maybe not all of us want to, but that could be altered. If you can change minds, so can I.
Someone with your impeccable taste could transform Tevinter.
I hope you're right. You usually are. It might surprise you to know that you're the one who inspired me. You're shaping the world, for good or ill. How could I aspire to do any less? If it means proving that Tevinter can be better, that there's hope even for my homeland, I would do anything.
And what else did Lady Forsythia say?
That she'd rather drown herself than help the Inquisition.
Anything else?
She said she'd have us flogged alive if we allied with her brother.
That does sound like her.
Cheer up, Josie. We at least have her attention.
You always do find the brighter side of things. We are in the midst of cementing an alliance with Lady Forsythia of Nevada, your worship. It's become a somewhat delicate task.
Can I do anything to help negotiations?
Thank you, but I believe I have matters in hand. I dissuaded her from sending soldiers when she learned we'd struck an accord with a brother she's feuding with. Lady Forsythia simply employs a colorful manner of speech.
You're rather good-natured about threats of death and dismemberment.
They are chiefly bluster, Inquisitor. Most of them. But I confess I do miss my staff from the embassy in Antiva. It was always useful to discuss the day's visitors with them.
I have time if you'd like to review things with me.
I wouldn't wish to impose.
If it were imposing, I wouldn't have offered.
Well, I admit there are a few potential alliances it would be good to discuss. Right on the parlor floor, in front of everyone at the soiree. Who does such a thing in front of their guests?
The Duke of Kellington, apparently.
And then there's Cole's lurking. It frightens our guests half to death. Lord Jenner still won't respond to our letters. And Sarah, can she not find a single overshirt without mustard stains on it? Then there's Dorian. The man refuses to take anything seriously unless it suits its whim. Not to mention... Oh goodness. Have we been here an hour already?
It went by so quickly, I didn't even notice.
You're far too polite. I didn't intend to go on for so long. You must think me quite the gossip.
You've been working continually since I met you, Josephine.
And that can't stop. I must be going. But I leave feeling less troubled than I have in weeks.